Hey, what's up guys, Bajheera here, bringing you some more 3v3 arena matches from the 5.4 PTR. As you may be able to tell from the title, I am indeed spec'd Bladestorm. So, we're going to be getting a lot of nice Bladestorms, but the point of this video is not really to show you as many montage quality highlight reel Bladestorms as I did in that montage that I posted the other day. I really hope you guys enjoyed that one. But it's more to show you what Bladestorm is actually going to look like, just in some general 3v3 arena matches that we queued up on the PTR. And I always have to put out this disclaimer just so you guys understand. These games are against just, random people on the PTR. Definitely of varying skill levels and experience levels with their class, so sometimes there might be moments like that where mages just get randomly globaled, but it is a lot of fun, and this is probably one of my favorite clips from the entire session. I'd run in there, throw up a spell reflect that Hodge, and just absolutely shred this Warlock to pieces. So it's not to say that Bladestorm isn't hitting hard, and keep in mind that I am not using any of the sort of PvE trinkets that give you ridiculous, crit damage or crit stats or anything like that. I'm just using full PvP gear, all the PvP, set pieces, and all the PvP trinkets. So nothing too crazy in terms of PvE gear. All this is just straight up warrior balance, and that's why I choose to use the PvP gear, just because I'm not really trying to, just play it like this is a private server, get a free 90. Get all the most ridiculous gear I can and just one-shot people. I'm actually trying to find out how warrior lines up in terms of balance, and for the purpose of fun and for just finding out if it's going to be something that we can actually use, I did want to spec Bladestorm for some of these arenas, and you are going to get the big, all cooldowns, big Bladestorms on opponents that don't really, maybe are inexperienced with arena, and they're going to get global, and that's funny and enjoyable, but most of the time, in my experience, Bladestorm is not just going to global experienced players. And even though it is ticking for near 100k, the damage is quite healable as long as, unless you set up with CC chains, then Bladestorm can be like a really useful kill tool. But even with all your cooldowns popped, Bladestorm can, on its own, is still a very healable damage CC. But I am going to pop by Bladestorm as Druid. He's going to run away, and I'm going to start hitting the Shaman. Now you see, instead of hitting for 90k, it's hitting for like 57k crits. So if they ever put up any sort of defensive cooldowns or receive any healing, it's not going to be quite as lethal. But these guys, this match was going on a little bit long, so we were able to score a kill off of that. And that's not to say that Bladestorm doesn't apply tremendous pressure here. It's just that it's not just a instant 100% one-shot tool like, maybe a 5 stacks of Taste for Blood was. But check out this little play. I see the mage is getting low. I'm just going to sit here and cast a Shattering Throw instantly. Not to have to worry about rage or anything. I had 16 rage. Normally I wouldn't even be able to cast that, but since Shattering Throw is free, I can use my intuition and my skills as a warrior to pre-Shattering Throw that ice block. So as soon as he gets in the ice block, the Shattering Throw is already being casted and it takes it off immediately. Unfortunately, my Rep Paladin didn't quite notice that I was doing it, so the mage does get out alive, but that's okay. As we force the tree form, everybody on their team is getting low. They got cleaved down a little bit by the Bladestorm and just by our general damage. I'm going to hit this Resto Druid for a while, try to apply pressure. Once he gets away from me, I'm just going to turn right back onto the mage and keep that damage up. From my experience overall, Bladestorm is a pretty fun damage cooldown, and I think that, I don't know if it is going to just be better than Shockwave for serious PvP, but maybe it has a place in RBGs, and honestly, if you want to spec Bladestorm, I think that the buffs to it make it something that you actually can do. I think you can use Bladestorm skillfully. You do lose some of your CC, but if your partner can sort of fill the gap in CC, or if you're playing a massive cleave damage comp, like maybe a TSG or a WLS, you might actually be able to use Bladestorm effectively in a warrior comp, and I think that's something that's really cool. Having more than one viable choice in terms of the way you spec your character is something that I feel like Blizzard has always wanted to create. It's just that there's always that dominant spec that arises, and that was probably still going to be the case here. I know a lot of people, I see in the comments, a lot of people are like, hey man, I still use Dragon Roar, or hey, I still use Bladestorm, and that's cool. Some people even are like, dude, I still play Fury, that's just because what I like to do, and that's great. It's just, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage by not playing the absolute best spec, or, best ability set for your class. However, what will be cool is, with this buff to Bladestorm, sort of narrows the gap between the effectiveness of Shockwave and Bladestorm. But the cool thing is, since they're such different abilities, they bring a lot of different stuff to the table. You are sort of sacrificing some CC by not using Shockwave, but in terms of just creating pressure and generating a kill in a PvP setup, there's two ways that you can apply pressure. You can apply it with CC, or you can apply it with ridiculous damage. And this gives you the choice of which kind of warrior you want to be. So your CC sort of gets limited to, you know, your fears, your interrupts, and your charge stuns. But when you played like that in Cataclysm, and that was a lot of fun. And I think that I really do enjoy this sort of raging berserker style, where you're really not going to be, you know, running around and stunning the team for CC. You're just going to be training one target, getting as much damage up as you can do, and whenever you need to, swap. And this is the kind of style that I liked playing so much when I played WLS. And Bladestorm on a WLS is such a scary thing to fight. I mean, so is Shockwave. So what we see here is a situation in which your decision, whether you want to spec Bladestorm or Shockwave, it either comes down to your personal preference, or it could come down to what sort of comps you're fighting against. If you, as a warrior, are going to be relied on to peel or CC more when fighting a certain comp in 3v3 arena, you can spec accordingly. If all you have to do is just get in there, cleave somebody down, then you can spec Bladestorm. And I think that's one of the coolest things, is when I first saw that you could respec in arena, I was like, wow, man, that's going to be awesome. You can switch up your spec depending on who you're fighting. But then, you know, it became the situation where, at least as a warrior, there was, you know, very little times where you actually needed to change your spec, because there was one set of abilities that was, you know, the most dominant and would probably set you up with the best chance for success no matter who you fought. And I can understand that there's some things like maybe switching out Disrupting Shout for Staggering Shout if you're fighting a melee cleave and you wanted to peel, but at the same time, your bleeds are going to break that route, so it's probably not even worth taking. So here we find ourselves in a situation where, one, you know, you can change just for fun. If you just want to go into BGs and use a Bladestorm and do a lot of damage, you certainly have that opportunity. But the other thing is, due to Bladestorm doing so much damage, it might be a real thing that you could use in Arena, and I think that's awesome, because I mean, Arena is my favorite thing to do in WoW, and having my absolute favorite class have more than one available way to be played is something that's really cool, especially if it's a style of play that I always enjoyed. I really did enjoy Bladestorm, and I feel like it's such an iconic warrior ability. I mean, of course I fell in love with Shockwave during Mists of Pandaria, but you know, I definitely can see myself using Bladestorm sometimes, and the playstyle of Bladestorm does feel a little bit more sort of smooth for some reason. I guess because it could be just be a little bit more tunnely. All you really ever do is just swap with charge stuns and then just, you know, try to keep your damage up the entire time. If people group up, that's when you start to, you know, try to use your Bladestorm to apply spread pressure. But I don't know. I think that having more than one spec is a good thing, and I definitely think that just from the way I've been, you know, the way I've been testing out Bladestorm, I do think that Bladestorm is something that you can actually end up using in a serious PvP situation. Of course, it'll require more testing, and like I said, I'm only really testing on PTR against opponents who may or may not have, you know, the arena experience that needed to test out whether or not an ability is going to be effective at high-level arena. But I mean, you can't really see clips like this one. I'll show you. You can't really see clips like this one and not you know, smile. So you're fighting a cheeky triple DPS team, combat, or maybe like, yeah, I don't think he's combat, but fighting a rogue double enhancement shaman, and all you really want to do is get this rogue stuck in the middle of the map and Bladestorm him just for non-stop 90k crits and just cut him in half. And then, you know, tell him that's what he gets for running triple DPS. I mean, when you see Bladestorm clips like that, it's hard not to smile. It's hard not to get excited about it, even if the harsh truth is, it is going to pale in comparison to Shockwave at high level, you know, high rated PvP. I mean, you can't not have fun with that. Here's another Bladestorm, another LOLstorm clip for you. So this is what I mean. Like, you find a team all grouped up, you get them in a big fear, and you pop all your cooldowns. They give you a free Zerker Rage because he sapped me, and now these guys are just going to get cleaved down. The monk really doesn't know what to do. He doesn't get out of my Bladestorm, and obviously, you know, probably not the most experienced arena player, but if you stand in a Bladestorm and you get hit for 90k 4 times in a row, like, it's going to be a bad time. But that's a lot of lols for a warrior. Alright guys, that's all I've got for now. Thank you so much for watching. 5.4 is looking great for us, and I'll definitely keep you posted on any sort of warrior PvP, and maybe even Death Knight PvP that I do on the 5.4 PTR. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!